the norm, not the norm, yeah, this is not the norm. Traveling on the highway to head my way to not the norm. If you got no money, things ain't so funny when poverty is the norm. Not the norm, not the norm, yeah, this is not the norm. Traveling on the highway to head my way to not the norm. If you got no money, things ain't so funny when poverty is the norm. Not the norm, not the norm, and listening to not the norm. Not the norm, not the norm, yeah, this is not the norm.
Greetings everybody, welcome to another session of Not the Norm. 'Tis the 20th of the 8th, 2022. It's actually about midnight here at the moment. It's been pouring down in Nelson here for the last week. Actually, maybe I should turn that round. If I can. Can't turn that round for some reason. Anyway, yeah, greetings all. Not the Norm here. So it's been pouring down in Nelson here for the last week or so. Some quite extreme flooding. Some of the worst flooding we've had for quite some time. So there's a few people in a bit of distress out there. Anyway, I think they're all evacuated and no one's hurt at the moment from what I've heard. So we're all good. But I thought I'd just cover a few things. I see at the moment there's a few people travelling around the country, a couple of different groups promoting their different kaupapa under the Heiwakaputanga, which is the flag, which I just want to get a picture up here for you. Actually, I'll turn these around so you don't have to look at me muggins. And yes, don't forget to share this video around, like, share and subscribe as I do. I'll run you through my different channels there so you can check me out. So yeah, my main channel of course is Not the Norm, which you're probably watching on now. I'm just going to set you up here. Sorry about my hand over that there. Right, so that's my YouTube channel there. I'm up to 921 subscribers. Be good if you guys could help me break that 1,000 mark. But anyway, I want to cover the flags. There's a few different people going around the country at the moment, operating and promoting the Heiwakaputanga. So I want to go over a few things about the flag because there's we need to kind of sort out what is going on, really, because if we're all running around out there under false pretenses, then we're not on very good stable ground. I'm just going to start off with this particular this was a newspaper item from 2010. I'm not sure what the actual date there is. This is was an article in the newspaper regarding the dilemma of the New Zealand flag and the court seal. I'll read it out to you. For the first time, Māori people will have a representative flag fly on Waitangi Day, also on the Auckland Harbour Bridge and government buildings jointly with the 1902 New Zealand flag. It must be noted that none of the two flags were present on Waitangi Day and have no constitutional relevance. The Māori people need to question the reason their ancestors who signed the founding documents are no longer remembered and respected. Excuse me. The original 1835 sovereign national flag of New Zealand, presented by King William IV, was raised when the New Zealand native chiefs signed the Declaration of Independence. The flag in the New Zealand courtrooms today herald a jurisdiction that has no relationship to the founding document signed by the New Zealand native chiefs in 1835. The official seal of the court, seal of Parliament, and seal of the police all bear no relevance to the 1835 sovereign national flag proclaimed by King William IV. The question arises, what was the founding document signed by New Zealand natives chiefs on the 12th of June 1902 that allowed the current New Zealand flag to become the flag of the courts, including the seal for the courts, Parliament and police? It will concern Prince William that the 1835 flag of the king that he is named after was not in the court seal when he opened Supreme Court on 18th of January 2010. Has this not grossly undermined the New Zealand Constitution, whilst it also demonstrated dishonour to King William IV and Prince William? The obscure reasons why the New Zealand government changed its flag on the 12th of June 1902 without founding documents will be discussed later in other articles. Soon, Tonga will undergo changes from a royal kingdom to a constitutional monarchy, which were outlined by the Tongan King's recent trip to England. The King has an opportunity to learn from the lessons presented so that Tonga will not repeat New Zealand's constitutional dilemma. Okay, so they admit there's a bit of a constitutional dilemma. Now, of course, the national flag, which of New Zealand, have I got one here? Actually, I don't think I've actually got one. I'll see if I can find one in here, just quickly for you. Just for people maybe looking from overseas. Might not quite recall what New Zealand flag is. It's very interesting actually, because some of the old depictions of the New Zealand flag, I mean, at the moment we have the I'm sure I've got a flag here somewhere. Oh, there's one there on the anthem anyway, for those that, I'll just open that for you. So there's the flag there that we have here in New Zealand. This is on the second verse of the national anthem we have here in New Zealand. But you'll notice there that the flag that we have is a red flag, red five-pointed red star with a white border. I'll try and get a better image before I finish the video here. We'll see one hopefully. But even in some old depictions, those stars, which are supposed to represent the Southern Cross, are actually red without the white border on them. And up in the left-hand corner in the top there, the canton, of course, we have the Union Jack. The flag of the Union Jack just means Union, of course. Okay, so that was those. So now, I'm going to go over a few things here. So, back in the early 1900s, we had the Boer War. Maybe I should just quickly give you a bit of an update on the Boer War, what that was about, just quickly on Wikipedia, just so you've got a bit. So the Second Boer War was known as the Boer War or the Anglo-Boer War. I'll bring up Wikipedia there so you can see it as well. Second Boer War, also known as the Boer War, Anglo-Boer War, or the South African War, was a conflict fought between the British Empire and the two Boer republics, South African Republic and the Orange Free State, over the Empire's influence in Southern Africa from 1899 to 1902. So we were involved in that. New Zealand was, and we sent a 28th Maori Battalion was over there. So this is the Boer War medal. Excuse me, there's 5 points. You can't really see it very clearly on there, but the actual medal does have 5 points on it, on this particular medal depiction here. So I'll read that there. The Army is extremely meticulous about their flags and medals, as they carry many international laws within their cantons and ensigns. The likelihood that they would make a mistake is absolutely ludicrous and would be tantamount to using a pirate flag in international waters where countries are at war. And it isn't going to happen. Okay, so there's a larger depiction of the coin, the medal, actually, I should say. The Queen there, and you'll see there it's got the dates 1899, and it's actually 1900 there on that particular model. It'd be great if someone actually out there in New Zealand has one of these medals. I'm sure there are rangatira out there that have these. It'd be good to get a very clear image of one. I haven't actually been able to find it. So here we have a depiction of what is known as the Heiwakaputanga. I think I've even got a better one in here, actually. Maybe it's some images. Sorry about this, I should have set that up a bit better for you before I started. So here is the flag commonly known as the Heiwakaputanga. Now you'll see, of course, it has the large St. George cross here, and it also up in the Canton area has what this area is called the Canton. It has another smaller St. George's cross in there. I'll go into the St. George's cross a little bit. The St. George's cross in and of itself, in fact, is very interesting in and of itself, because there's certain aspects of the St. George that we don't really know much about. And of course there's many different particular representations of the St. George cross. There's quite a few of them there. Looks very similar to the Maltese cross, we see that. And you know, whether you know it or not, the Maltese cross is actually representative of a four-sided pyramid looking down from the top. But this is another. This is from Britannica, the St. George cross. Actually, I think I've got another version of that. Maybe here somewhere. Nope, it's not that one. Okay, so there. Anyway, it says here that St. George flourished the 3rd century, died traditionally, Palestine, feast days April 23rd, early Christian mitre who during the Middle Ages became an ideal or martial valour and an ideal of martial valour and selflessness. He's a patron saint of England and of Georgia, and is venerated as one of the 14th auxiliary saints or holy helpers. But interestingly enough, here it states quite clearly there that nothing of George's life or deeds can be established. So if you know people are running around with a flag of St. George on it and nothing of St. George's life or his deeds can actually be established, then it kind of you know, it opens it up for all sorts of other interpretations, and so you know it's not a very good, it's not a very solid foundation is what I'm trying to say, is the point I'm trying to make. You know, for someone who nothing is really known about, one has to wonder who he actually was, and certainly we're not being given the truth. And this is usually the standard in most cases. But anyway, that there is my MeWe page under Norm Collins. You can check that out if you're on MeWe. So let's go back here. We've got here the 8 points. So this is the Heiwakaputanga. And as I say, there's different versions of it going around out there. And no one seems to be able to definitively tell us which version is the legitimate one. So here we have a version up in the Canton. Here again we have the St. George cross. No one knows who he was, but there it is there anyway. And we have the white framing round here. It's called a fimbriant. and this particular flag, it's white, and you'll notice there's 4 white stars there as well, and these ones have 8 points on the star. So 8 points with a white fimbriate is the 1834, supposedly. When the chosen flag arrived in New South Wales, the officials changed the black fimbriate to make it heraldry correct, because if you go to flags and have a look at the different flags that are out there, you kind of start to see that there's lots of the flags out there that that have a heraldic history of colour. And one of the rules of heraldic colour on flags is that you can't have the black on the dark blue. Let's just go here. I think I've got it here somewhere. So here's your different colours here of your flags. You've got your blue as azure. That's actually quite a, looks like a more lighter blue than the one that's on the Heiwakaputanga. But you've got gules, purpure, sable being black, vert being green, argent being white, and or being the yellow. OR is the yellow. So most flags always have the red, white, and blue. Red being the land, white being the air, and blue being the water, which is LAW, which is your law on the sea, your commercial, banking, admiralty, jurisdictional laws. So those are your colours of heraldry, and you won't find flags that have the blue heraldry with the black against them. It doesn't matter where you go. I've been looking for quite some time now, trying to find flags that have the blue and the black together. They don't have it. You have the the white and the blue. You won't get the black and the blue together because they are unidentifiable from long distances. Now, if you're a ship out at sea, it's probably hard enough to identify blue flags as it is, blue and black on flags as it is, especially when they're together. There's an example there, actually. Not sure what that one's about, but a lot of these flags that we're seeing here, especially these types of things here, they are specific to certain areas, often castles, sometimes families, crests, and they identify a clan in some stage. But in international flags, you will not find the black and red together, because, as I say, it becomes too hard to identify the separation of those two particular colours from ships at sea. So they don't put them together on international flags, which, straight away leads us to have to question. We need to question what's actually going on here. And there's all sorts of, as I say, different groups. There's the Māori government, the Heiwakaputanga, the Whakamaninga Māori government. There's the Kahuiaro. There's several other factions all running around using the Heiwakaputanga and promoting the Heiwakaputanga as their flag. But as we look into this, there seems to be a fair bit of discrepancy about which flag it is we're supposed to be using. So we've got this version here, which seems to be correct in its heraldic colours, being that it's got the white fimbriate there, and it hasn't got the black, but it has, you'll notice it has the 8-pointed star here. So when the chosen flag arrived in New South Wales, the officials changed the black fimbriate to make it heraldry correct. England would not accept responsibility for a flag that did not follow their internationally recognised system. Okay, so that's one of the versions of the flag that's out there. 8 points for the white fimbriate. However, before being zetted, it was pointed out that the white fimbriate that the United Tribes was the canton of the Church Missionary Society flag, having significant implications in international law. So again, they were a little bit concerned about the white fimbriate there, but they seem to not remove it. They seem to have left it there with, of course, again, this one has the 8-pointed stars here. And then we move on to this one, which has the large St. George cross, the smaller St. George cross in the canton, and it has the white fimbriate, but you'll notice here it has the 6-pointed star. Okay, so the New South Wales Governor changed the 8 points to 6 points, and the flag was gazetted as a 6-point with white fimbriate. And this is the flag design sent to England for their approval and acceptance as being responsible for the flag of convenience to New Zealand that did not have a government to back up the flag. Okay, so there's another version there. So the 6 points white fimbriate and heraldry stars and their rays also have significance. Okay, so this flag, I've seen versions of it with the 6-pointed, the 7-pointed, the 5-pointed, and the 8-pointed. So again, there's lots of discrepancy as to which one it is, but it says here the heraldry stars and their rays also have significance. The 8 rays usually represent nobles, such as the Catholic Church or royalty, used on the Heinrich seal of Count von Sternberg. 6 rays represented Germany, and 6 points with the 1 upright triangle and the 1 turned down triangle represent the Jewish religion as well. If you'll see on the Jewish flag, of course, they have a very clear depiction of that, the Israeli flag. Usually 5 rays was commonly used by the pagan people and Protestant Christians. Okay, it's important we look at these terms here. Pagan, which is where, of course, a lot of the Christianity rituals and that ritualistics come from. But we have the Protestants here who were the protesters, who were protesting pretty much against the the Catholics, the Jews, and the Muslims, because and all of and pretty much Christianity as well, actually, because of all of these religions, you have to go to through a third party to be able to access the Creator. But of course, the Protestants, they didn't want that. They knew in and of themselves that they didn't need to go through a third party to be able to have a direct link to God. And so these other religions were usurping the channels, and they were third party interlopers, and they're trying to clip the ticket. That's why in the old days, if you had enough money, you could give it to the church and they would be able to forgive your sins, and of course that would in their view give you a ticket into heaven, and you wouldn't end up in hell or Hades. So that's where the Protestants. Now, the Protestants are important because the Protestants are also mentioned in our 1688 Bill of Rights, the Will and Mary Bill of Rights, which we might touch on. Very important, though, so I just wanted to spin you around and just so you can see muggins while I'm talking to you there, but we'll carry on here. So there we are. We've got this particular version here, and I say that it has the 6-pointed stars there, as we've seen. Right, let's carry on here. So in 1835, this flag was gazetted the next year by British Admiralty with the 8-pointed stars replaced with 5-pointed ones, and the black fimbriate returned to the heraldically correct white. This was gazetted in England in 1835 and again in New South Wales in 1835. Now, for me, I tend to go along with the 5-pointed star being the correct one, because as I say now, on the 1902 commonly accepted flag, we have the 5-pointed star, although it's red with the white border and the 4 stars signifying the Southern Cross. But again, they're using the 5-pointed star, and it seems to be the correct one from what I've looked into. Now, I'm no expert on any of this, and as I pointed out to you at the beginning there, caveat emptor, I'm no expert. Do your own research. Buyer beware. So the flag was gazetted, as I say, and changed in 1835 and again in New South Wales. So it would seem to be that this particular flag, and the 5-pointed star with the white fimbriate seems to be the correct one. There's your New Zealand 1902 flag. In 1840, New Zealand received its own national flag with a blue ensign for the responsibility of New Zealand law, and the Union Jack in the canton for the responsibility of the United Kingdom under the Majesty. Now, that gave us our protectorate. She was the protectorate because any ships that went into... Sorry, I have to keep spinning you around here. I just don't have the flip round button on my phone for some reason while I'm recording here. But when ships went into ports back in the early days of shipping and that, if they didn't have a recognisable flag on their ship, then they were pretty much open for salvage. And having the Union Jack on our flag was the protectorate. It gave us, it gave the countries that the ships flying these flags were entering into, the foreign ports they were entering into, it gave those countries the security of knowing that the individuals on those ships were bound by the rules and regulations of the United Kingdom and under the Union Jack. So they were subjects of the Queen under Her Majesty, and they were bound by the rules and regulations thereof. And that also that entails more for the United Kingdom, the Magna Carta of 1215, but more recently, a little bit, of course, the 1688 Bill of Rights. Now, from the Magna Carta through to the 1688 Bill of Rights is about 400 years. The Magna Carta establishing, well, not establishing, but I guess firstly establishing the common law, and then they were re-established with the 1688 Bill of Rights again. But the common law of the Magna Carta, applied to the 1215 version, applied to the lords, the barons, the kings, and the parliaments. It didn't apply to the commoners on the land, and so the commoners on the land under a feudal system still had to fight for their standing, having rights under which they established under the Will and Mary, King William IV. King William and Queen Mary in 1688. The Will and Mary, that is the 1688 Bill of Rights, which entrenched the common law rights for the peasants on the land. Okay, whereas before it were only the free men, as the terms used in the Magna Carta, only applied to the lords and barons and landowners. So it didn't actually apply to the peasants on the land. So that's why the 1688 Bill of Rights came into play, and it's the one that holds most relevance for us in these times, I think. So this particular flag here encompassed the United Tribes 4 stars with the 5 points. That's giving us the, as I say, the Southern Cross there. The blue ensign for the commoners. The blue is also law of the sea as well, the water. So anyway, the Union Jack to show that the 3 countries of Scotland, Northern Ireland and England, that would be the guarantor of accountability. As I was saying, when these ships flying the Union Jack went into foreign ports, they were under the protectorate of the Majesty. So this is why the New Zealand flag is one of the most respected and honoured in all the world, as it holds the responsibility of 4 countries under Her Majesty and the 1688 Bill of Rights to all who fly it. Okay. In the English attic of the government office, a white fimbriate with 4 stars, 5 raised points was found. This is the logical United Tribes flag that in fact was a sneaky plot by the Church Missionary Society to establish themselves as the owners of New Zealand shipping ports. Very interesting again there, you see the 5-pointed star. So the Church Missionary Society, they use the 8-pointed star. Okay, so here's the Heiwakaputanga with the 6-pointed star, the white fimbriate. So in 1858, the shipping company Shaw Saville registered their flag with the white fimbriation with 6 rays or points. This would have been impossible if the United Tribes used white fimbriation 6 raised points. Okay, the white fimbriation with 4 stars of 8 points would also be impossible, as it was already registered by the Church Missionary Society. And that's why I think they wanted to get that 8-pointed star on there. So the black sable fimbriation on dark blue azure with the 4 stars of 8 points is illegal in British maritime law and impossible to be flown. Logic says that the only flag that could possibly be registered in Britain as the United Tribes flags must be white fimbriate with 4 stars and 5 raised points, which seems to be the flag, I think, that was the Ridgy-Didgy one. So here we have, again, a Heiwakaputanga version. It has the black fimbriate there, but it's undiscernible. And this, again, even if I extend it, make that bigger, you're still not going to be able to see it. So you're never going to be able to see that out at sea flying on ships with, distance and sea mist and refraction and all the rest of it. So the heraldic colours were extremely important to be able to clearly define the flags that ships were flying. So in 1858, Shaw Saville registered their ship with the white fimbriate and 4 stars, 6 raised points. This was a continued ploy by the Church Missionary Society to establish themselves as governors of New Zealand. The ships were used to bring thousands of white slaves to New Zealand. Okay, and this is the one that's commonly being promoted by all these different groups that are travelling around New Zealand at the moment. You have the Kohuiro movement with Edward Moses, and you have the Whakaputanga Māori government with Georgie Job, and being promoted at the moment by Antoinette James. She's travelling around the country, and she brings some really good information to the table about some of the UN documents that we've been signed into and hooked into, and different treaties that we're being pretty much pulled into through our rat bags running the country at the moment, which is Jacinda Ardern. But anyway, so the 8 points with black fimbriate on a white ensign, 1834. The left canton is the company or country that will collect taxes on behalf of import, export and shipping. The large part of the flag is called the ensign, and the ensign is the country whose laws will be enforced by the carrier of the flag in the event that their merchant seamen commit crimes in another country's port or place of berthing. The owner of the ensign must be a recognised governmental structure. In this case, the white ensign belongs to Britain, as New Zealand had no government, and they were responsible for all activities of the canton owners. Therefore, the British require the flyers of their ensign to follow heraldic law on flag design. In 1834, the Church Missionary Society wanted a flag for their ships. A Pākehā, meaning Anglo-white person, is a Pākehā in the Māori language. Excuse me. Problem with a New Zealand Māori solution. 3 flags designed by Henry Williams, the leader of the Church Missionary Society, were presented. Of 25 chiefs, 10 Catholics, 12 Jehovah's Witnesses and 3 independents. The 12 church missionary supporters won the vote and chose the same flag as the CMS had flown for many years, but added a black fimbriate to represent New Zealand Māori. This flag was heraldically incorrect. So again, it's not the correct flag. Let's just read these ones out. So there's the flag that we have here that is officially recognised overseas. The war certificate, I'll just read these bits out here. The war certificate and the, I think, original flag are together on the wall of a marae in the South Island. If anyone knows what that marae is, then you can make a comment down below and let us know, because we need to figure out what's going on here, folks. Otherwise, we're all running around chasing our tails, and we're just going to be jumping out of one jurisdiction into another jurisdiction, and still floundering around in unfathomable leagues of the sea, and we don't want to be doing that. So, New Zealand people, children of the Great 1688 and Treaty. So again, here we have Heiwakaputanga. Fly your flags with pride of our nation that our ancestors fought side by side for in 1840 to give us the great Treaty of Waitangi and our most beautiful 1688 protections. And there was again the heraldic colours. You can have a look at those. This is the 28th Māori Battalion in here. It shows them with the usual New Zealand flag that we have over here, two huge flags. But you'll notice here that they have the they seem to have a 5-pointed star, and there doesn't seem to be any fimbriate there at all, which is again another interpretation of the flag, but that's what they went to war under. And so yeah, so again, lots of confusion. There's the St. George Cross again. We have this flag here also being flown in many places around New Zealand, called the Tino Rangatiratanga flag. Is often referred to as the Māori flag and can be used to represent all Māori. Helena Marsden, Jan Smith and Linda Munn designed the flag in 1990, according to this particular meme. As I say, I'm no expert, so check all this information. If you have discrepancies with what I'm presenting here, then please do chime in. You know, we want to get it right, folks. We need to. Original flag here, it says that one's with the black fimbriate and the 8-pointed star, which we now know is maybe not heraldically correct. So the red St. George Cross on a white background, top left, red St. George Cross with black border on blue background, pierced with 4 white 8-pointed stars. The other one here, the 1861, change of design. According to the history of Kahuiro, Taranaki Māori requested their input into the design. In 1861, the black border was replaced by a white border indicating the white feathers, te raukura, worn by Taranaki. Again, there seems to be different interpretations with regards to the numbers of stars on the flag and who actually owns these things. Here's a different one again, same design as previous flag, but without the insignia of King William IV. Kahuiro tradition says this flag was not accepted either because it was too similar to the other. Seems to have a black fimbriate around the large St. George Cross there as well. Different definitions of the flag here according to ensigns within Kahuiro. 8-point star represents Māori sovereign and taipuru, te ene and te anu, female and male issue. 7-point star there represents the Ariki and Confederation of Chiefs of the United Tribes. Accordingly, this one says that the 6-point star represents the Awaroa Waka, the Native Navy, Awaroa Ehoia, the Native Military, Awaroa Ehoia Heri prison officers. And the 5-point star represents Ngā Hapu o Huiro. So, again, you know, different interpretations here, different definitions. Again, here we have the Te Runanga Kohuiro 1834. It's got a red St. George Cross on a white background. Top left, red St. George Cross on black background, pierced with 4 8-point stars. Gold insignia with the letters W, 4R. I think that's the William IV. Maybe that's royalty, I'm not too sure. In the centre with the words Te Runanga Ko Huiro, 1834 around the outside. This flag was not accepted by the Ariki of Kohuiro because King William IV insignia was placed on top of the black, which was interpreted as the crown of England, placing its mana over the Māori nation. So, yeah, so interesting, very interesting interpretations, and I'm not going to read all that out there, but I'll try and get it a little bit bigger so if you're interested you can actually read that. Bring that down a bit there. This one up here, it's again, you've got the Heiwakaputanga, it's got the St. George Cross there, but it's got, looks like the 8-pointed, which I think it should be the 8-pointed star, but some of those look like they're 9-pointed or 10-pointed even. It's that blurry. New Zealand's first national flag was chosen at a meeting between James Busby, the British resident, and 20 Māori chiefs in the Bay of Islands on 20th March 1834. Known as the flag of the independent tribes of New Zealand, it was flown until 1840, according to that. So again, there's a lot of, seems to be quite a lot of historical discrepancy, and, you know, we need to know what the facts are. We need to know who's holding the right flag. We need to know what jurisdictions those flags represent, and we really need to know what's you know, what the facts are, because if we're running around promoting flags and that aren't the original flags and don't hold any jurisdiction, then again, as I say, we're going to be getting ourselves into hot water. And we don't want to be doing that. We want clarification. We want to know what's going on. We want to know who's who in the zoo, and we need to be able to figure out. Sorry if I blocked you off there. We need to be able to figure out, as I say, who's who in the zoo. So that's pretty much all I've got for you. I think I've pretty much covered everything there that I wanted to cover. And if you've got any information that can enlighten us a little bit further as to, as I say, who's who in the zoo, then that'd be great. Also, don't forget, as I say, to check out my YouTube channels. I've got my Odyssey channel there is Not the Norm. I'll turn that right there so you can see, Not the Norm there. I've got my Rumble page, which is Freemans, capital F-R-E-E. Can I zoom in there, but without it going funny? No, it's not going. I haven't got the best of technology here. So there's my Rumble page anyway. I've got BitChute page there. That's my BitChute page when it loads. Oh, didn't I finish doing that one? I didn't finish doing that one. Never mind. I'll get that up there. Not the Norm. That's me BitChute. There's me MeWe page. And yep, this is all just entertainment. That's just how it was. So you can check out some of the things on my MeWe page. And yeah, look, it's not about likes for me really. It's about spreading the knowledge out there and getting people to think, and to try and get us all on the same path really, because while we're all running out there in different directions and we can't sit down and coordinate our information and put our cards on the table, then we're just going to keep being railroaded by the government, of course, which is what's happening to us. So it's not a good state of affairs. So this one here is Not the Norm. On my MeWe page, also put some good information in there. I try to keep things relative to New Zealand and about law, pretty much. And my other page, my Norm Collins MeWe page, is just with regards to very different things, but you'll get a very good idea of my thoughts and how I see things. So yeah, also some good information there too. You know, different documents there that are extremely important to New Zealand. So you guys can go and check that out on my MeWe page as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. As I say, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed that, and you guys all have a great week, and I'll chime in as soon as I can again. Thanks guys. Cheers. Over and out.